Hello, everybody. So we are going to begin by discussing your lymphatic and immune system. The lymphatic system is actually part of the immune system, which is why we have to talk about the two of them in conjunction. But when we are discussing the immune system, we're going to be talking about the individual cells that respond and how your body responds to potentially getting sick or other problems that can happen and combine therein. Your lymphatic system are the vessels that the immune system, your white blood cells, travel through. So the first thing we are going to do before we start talking about the nitty-gritty of everything is do a very brief synopsis of your lymphatic system. It's probably going to sound very similar to what you guys saw in lab. Right? So the lymphatic system is a series of vessels that travel through your body. If we look at, this picture right here, these lymph vessels, you have lymphatic capillaries, right? They sort of weave in and out and travel right up next to your arteries and veins. So they're everywhere, basically. These guys are traveling everywhere in your body. Can you find parts of your lymphatic system and the lymphatic capillaries, except for places like your bone marrow, which, as we know, are making more blood cells. So that's going directly into your blood. Your teeth and the cornea of your eye and your central nervous system. You're not going to find lymph vessels in those places. But everywhere else, you have lymph vessels running all up along your arteries and veins. Right? Or your arterioles and venules through your capillaries, all that kind of good stuff. The purpose of your lymphatic system is twofold. One, it's going to provide lymph nodes, which are small, bean-shaped mini organs that serve as staging areas for immune responses. Basically, we're going to be talking about your immune system on a more academic cellular type level, and then I'm going to be equating these to real-world situations and warfare and battle tactics to help those of you that haven't had chemistry yet and aren't good at imagining cellular level things. Think about your lymph nodes as the barracks for an army. Your army barracks. It's where all of your soldiers are sleeping, right? That's where they live when they are on duty, right? That's the job of your lymph nodes. They act as water filtration treatment plants by being the barracks where your white blood cells will live and do their job, by eating pathogens and helping to filter this extracellular fluid that is throughout your body. Lymph is the name of interstitial fluid once it has flown from between your cells into the lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system is going to act like a gutter flowing toward water treatment facilities for fluid in your body, but for your white blood cells in your immune system, it also acts as a superhighway for the white blood cells and other things to get where they need to go quickly. So your lymph is the interstitial fluid, or the fluid that was between your cells, once it has flowed from between your cells into the gutters and are being drained away from your body. The entire purpose of your lymphatic system is these vessels and cells and organs are going to carry excess fluid to be filtered from pathogens in the lymph nodes, and then flow that filtered, newly cleaned lymph or fluid back into your blood vessels and bloodstream so it can go back into circulation. That is the entire purpose of your lymph vessels. Yes, they also have valves in them, just like your veins did, because they're not actively pushing liquid around. They're using your other muscles to do that. So that's the general purpose of these lymph nodes. You have a number of tiny itty-bitty lymph nodes, and you'll hear this again when we go through the digestive system, called lacteals. These lacteals kind of peak along the capillaries within your intestines to help drain excess fluid that may be absorbed by these capillaries and by your intestines, so that there's an excess. There are excess gutters for the excess fluid to drain into that could potentially need filtering from pathogens you have eaten. That way you're not poisoned or you don't get food poisoning. Right? So you have a lot of these little lymph vessels called lacteals in your intestine, like that just kind of weave in and out of your intestinal capillaries. And right, and there you have it. There are a few trunks and locations you need to know about from your lymphatic system. The cisterna chili is a sac-like chamber that is going to receive all of the lymph from your lower abdomen, pelvis, and intestines. That means all of this excess lymph that you just absorbed from your intestines and other body parts here in your abdomen is going to go to these sac-like vessels right here for extra filtration, just in case, right? You also have a couple of other lymphatic trunks, right? You have the thoracic duct. That is going to be the main filter point for everything flowing back to your heart, which will then dump all of this now cleaned excess lymph or fluid back into your vena cava. And then you have the right lymphatic duct, which is over here, and that's going to filter everything from your right arm and your head. That way, your right arm is close. It was a proximity thing, but your head, because both you absorb a lot of potential bad things in your face because you both shove food there and breathe through there, meaning it's going to be the first place that's exposed to a number of illnesses and bad things, be it from coughing or sneezing or you picking up bad food and eating bad food. Remember, refrigeration has only been around for 100 years for food. Before that point, it was a lot easier to eat non-preserved food that could potentially hurt you. So your head, and plus your head has your brain in it. So your head gets its own special little filtration duct network, and your right arm was close enough to that it could piggyback off of it. So the right lymphatic duct is right here, and it's going to filter things from the head and the right arm. The thoracic duct handles everything else in your body, which is where your cisterna chili is going to connect to. And your cisterna chili is that additional lymphatic sac ductwork where all of the abdominal filtration points are going to dump into for extra filtering. You also have a couple, 3 main centers of lymph nodes that you should know about. One at the base of the neck, which once again, you want to protect your head. So they are extra filtrate, like a lot of lymph nodes at the base of your neck. Those are called your cervical lymph nodes, which are then going to dump into your right lymphatic duct. You have axillary lymph nodes. These are lymph nodes that are right here underneath both arms. They are in your armpit region, but they intertwine and weave around where your breast tissue is. This is why we get so very concerned with illnesses like breast cancer. Because we know that cancer cells like to metastasize. That means they can travel somewhere else in the body and begin growing in an inappropriate place. Breast cancer is particularly deadly because it develops out of this breast tissue that should be right here. And because that is close to these axillary lymph nodes and your lymphatic system, should breast cancer be get loose and start free-flowing through your body, it can use your axillary lymph nodes and these lymphatic vessels here as a highway to get away from this breast tissue and land somewhere else in the body to begin growing. That's what happens when a cancer metastasizes and why we get so very concerned with breast cancer once it has been diagnosed. Because it is very close to these lymphatic vessels. Right? But these are your axillary lymph nodes. They are going to filter the majority of stuff that comes up from your arms and hands. You're going to get a lot of cuts and scrapes on your arms and hands. You use them as tools very often. And you also have inguinal lymph nodes. These lymph nodes are here both to handle the cuts and bruises and scrapes and other things that may be filtered up from your feet and your legs, as well as being able to filter lymphatic vessels that may have, or pathogens that may have entered your body through, shall I say, more or less positive means. Right? This would mean they may be the ones handling a very bad yeast infection or an STD, should you have gotten something from having sex. Even if you became infected through the process of childbirth, this would also be a prime area from which this lymph and these pathogens would be filtered through, and then go on to the cisterna chili and through the rest of it. So those are your inguinal lymph nodes that handle everything from your legs and your crotch region. Axillary lymph nodes, they're at the base of your arms, and then you have your cervical lymph nodes handling everything from your head. The cervical lymph nodes are what doctors are checking for swollen lymph nodes. Should you have something like strep throat and that kind of thing. But that's the basics that you guys gotta know about your lymphatic system. Everything else we're going to be talking about and discussing is based upon the cells in your immune system for this unit. So I hope this has actually provided a nice little setting for your immune system, right? But this is where your immune system and most of the battles are going to be taking place, here in blood vessels.